Tim. This is a main share meeting, and today it's with great pleasure and much gratitude that we welcome Monica C., who's come to share on the topic of My God Blanket for up to 40 minutes, after which we'll open up for the Q&A portion of this meeting. Monica, it's over to you.
Thank you, Katie. Hello, everyone. My name is Monica, and I'm a very grateful alcoholic. Hello. Thank you so much, Young, for asking me to be of service here. Thank you to everyone else that's being of service. Thank you to my friends for coming and listening to me yap, even though you guys have heard me talk plenty of times. And just grateful to be here. Should I put my timer up or will you guys do it? I can do it if you don't. If that makes it easier, because I can go on. I don't want to take over the whole meeting, but well, I have mine. Okay, there you go. Thank you. There's a few things that I do always like to start off with. The first one is that I do always pray before I speak at any meeting. I ask God to speak through me. I ask him to use me as a vessel to give the message it is that he needs me to give. I ask him to allow me to be honest and open and vulnerable and cry if I have to cry. And I do usually end up crying, by the way. So spoiler alert. And to allow me to help at least one person in whichever room that I'm in. So if there's anything that I say today that offends anyone, I do like to say, tell your higher power to talk to my higher power, and they can hash it out, because I have absolutely nothing to do with this. This is all God. And I have a sobriety date. It's April 13 of 2018. So this month I celebrated 7 years of recovery, and thank you. They've been a really great 7 years, and each year I feel like I learn a little bit more about myself and my relationship with God and the people in my life, and I get to reflect every year on the past year and what I've learned and how I've changed and where the growth has been. And so I'll probably get into that a little later. And I have a sponsor. He's here, and I sponsor other alcoholics. And it doesn't matter what they identify as long as they want to do the work that it takes to recover. And those are a few things that I do like to mention. I also get to be of service. So whenever I get asked to speak at any meeting, I say yes. If I can spare 2 hours, 3 hours of my day to a program that has saved my life, then I will say yes, as long as it doesn't interfere with another commitment. And I get to be I host a 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time meeting every single night, and I've done it since 2020. And I didn't know I was going to be doing it for 5 years, but here we are. And it's not even a commitment at this point. It's just something that I get to be a part of, and I get the opportunity to party with my friends every single night, and it's just fun. It's fun times. And I'm also the secretary and chairperson for my home group, which is the Coral Gables group of Alcoholics Anonymous in Miami, Florida. And these are all just service opportunities that I get to be a part of, and I get to learn more about my home group, and I get to be a part of my home group and share my time with a program that saved my life. And so, it's always so funny. I think this is probably the second, maybe third time that someone has asked me to speak on my God blanket. And it's so cute, because that just that's a part of my story. And I think I just started mentioning that in my story, because it's part of like my fifth step experience. And I started sharing that just because I didn't have like the actual words to describe the experience I had in step 5. And the only thing I felt like I could use was the feeling of a blanket of love, a blanket of God being wrapped around me and another human being. And it was like God's presence was there. And so that's where it all started. And a lot of people love my God blanket. And it's sweet, because I didn't say this God blanket thing to wow anyone. It's just because I didn't have the words to describe that feeling, and that was the best that I could do. And now my God blanket actually goes all around the world, and it's connected to so many people, and it's a huge part of my story. Look at that. Not even 5 minutes in, I'm already tearing up. I told you guys. But anyway, I had, this is my second go around in this program. I'm just going to go through this real quick so I can get into the God shit, sorry. And it's not shit. Anyway, yeah. Second go around in this program, first time, gave me all the suggestions, didn't take any, thought I could control my drinking, did not, came to a point where I was miserable, I was lonely, I was depressed, I felt like I couldn't love, I felt like no one loved me, I felt it was just horrible. And every day I woke up and I asked myself what I was still doing here, what my purpose was, and why, there was no reason for me to even be alive. And it was just a lot of suicidal ideations. And one day I acted on it and I attempted an overdose on everything that I could find, and a suicide on overdose. And I stayed in the bathtub ready to die. I woke up in a psych ward, and I hit my knees in that psych ward when they assigned my bed, and I said, God, please help me. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how I got here, but I just need your help. And I don't know who I was praying to. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that I was done for good and for all, and that I needed something out there to hear me and to help me. I knew that I couldn't do this anymore, and that I didn't want to continue waking up like this and feeling these feelings of loneliness and misery and depression. It was just, I was done. And 7 days later, I got out of the psych ward. I went back into the rooms, and I raised my hand and I said that I was Monica and that I'm an alcoholic, and the whole room erupted and cheered. Yeah, welcome. We're glad you're here. And in my head, I'm thinking, no, my life is over. Why is everyone so happy and so cheerful? Like, this is not good. I'm an alcoholic. Why? I didn't know what to expect, and cheer wasn't one of the things that probably the last thing that I expected. And little did I know that I'd be the one now cheering for people on their first day. Woo, welcome, we're glad you're here. Because it's so exciting. Like, now I get it. And if someone would have told me that my life would be the way that it is now, 7 years later, I would have said, absolutely not. There's no way. Like, I'm way too miserable, too depressed to ever be that joyful. And so I didn't understand. And if there's anyone here, I'm not sure if there's anyone here on their first day or their first week or their first month. And if you're feeling all these feelings of loneliness or fear or sadness, or you're just scared, then I get it, and I'm with you. I have been in that exact same position, and you're in the right place, and you don't even know what's to come. Like, this is the beginning of the rest of your life, and it's just going to go up from here. Like, but it all takes work. It's not just like stick around and find out. It's just like, this takes a lot of work. So much work. And I'm just so grateful for the people in these programs that are there to show us, to guide us, to that are demonstrating, that are showing up and demonstrating everything that this program gives us the opportunity to be. And when I say it gives us the opportunity to be, and I'm saying the program, but in all honesty, it's all God. And if you're new here and you're like, oh no, here she comes, the God stuff. Yeah, I know it's a little terrifying, because I was one of those people when I first came into the program. People were talking about God this, God that, prayer and Lord's Prayer and serenity and my Lord and my Savior and my Christ, whatever it was that I heard that had to do anything with a God of their understanding, I was out of there. I would run out of the rooms. I couldn't pray with anyone. I didn't want to hold hands with anyone. I didn't want anything to do with it. I was just defiant, and I didn't want any of it. Until someone asked me, what if you can, like, create your, put words to what your God would be. And I said, okay, maybe I could do that. And so I came up with this build a God thing. And so I built my own God, and I put words to him. I put powerful, loving, caring, forgiving, and understanding. And with those 5 words, it was a start for me to be able to pray to a God of my understanding. And so I started praying to this God, and little by little, these prayers became bigger. I started off with just good morning. No, not good morning. It would be like, dear God. It was kind of like a diary. Dear God, help me stay sober today. Thank you. XOXO Monica, whatever it was just like this, just me starting to pray to this God. And little by little, those prayers became bigger. Little by little, instead of praying for me to stay sober, I asked God to keep my friends sober. I I asked God to keep my family safe. It just became bigger and bigger and bigger the more that I talked to this God. And it was all cool. And my God became a little bigger, but it was like I didn't realize that I was putting God in a box with just these 5 words until I started letting go of this God with 5 words. Like when I started letting go God of 5 words, my God became butterflies, then my God became trees, then my God became flowers and nature and mountains and the ocean. God started becoming everything. God became everyone. Like God became everyone. And when I say everyone, I'm talking about like people. I know, like, that's crazy, right? People. Like I started seeing God in other people. And that took time. I'm going to continue reiterating that. Like that take a lot of time because I met someone 2 years, I was 2 years sober and I was still like very in control of a lot of things in my life, or at least I thought I was trying to be in control. And I was still, I was going to meetings. I had a lot of friends. I had worked the steps. I served coffee and I did the best that I could. And I was like, I'm doing everything, but why do I still feel like dying sometimes? 2 years sober and I still felt like dying. Any minor inconvenience and it was like all hell would break loose. It was just like I still had suicidal ideations. I still wanted to drink. I obsessed about the drink. And it was just like this when I was in the rooms, I was okay. But when I was outside of the rooms, I was not okay. So it was like this full dependency on the rooms, full dependency on other people, but there was no dependency on this God. And the room shut down. I met this little old man, and he started sharing about catapults and rocket ships and fourth dimension of existence. And I was like, what the hell is he talking about? What rocket ship? What fourth dimension? I had no idea. Mind you, someone that's read the big book had no idea what he was talking about. And then he started sharing something a little deeper, and he started sharing about his wife and how she got diagnosed with cancer, and they didn't want to know how much time she had left, and they didn't care to know. But every morning they would wake up, and they would wake up with smiles and joy and love all the way until the day that she died. All the way to the day that she died. And he was sharing about this with so much love and so much joy. And I was just like, how is that possible? Like, how can someone share about something so heartbreaking and so painful with that much love? And I couldn't understand. And so I wanted to, I said, I want that. I want to be able to get through anything in this life with that amount of love and joy. And I realized that it was God that was missing. That was the reason why I couldn't fathom like little accidents or minor inconvenience. Like I couldn't deal with any of it because it was on Monica and there was no God. Because I couldn't pray to this God, but what am I doing for this God? What am I doing for this God? It was just a lot of like, I need this, I need that, I need this. But there was no like, what can I do for you, God? And that's what my life is all about today. I started working my steps again with my new sponsor. I asked him to sponsor me. At first he said no, then he said yes. And from there it like took off. Like my sobriety became recovery. It was crazy. It was like mind blowing. Like I didn't realize that I was missing a relationship with the God of my understanding. And so that's when I was able to rework my steps. And I went through this very thorough 4-step, and this 4-step where I put things down that I didn't put down the first time around, that there were things that I never thought I would ever in my life tell another human being. These things were dying with me. Never. Can never imagine telling another human being that. And so I went through this 4-step, and then the 5th step came around, and I sat in front of this one other human being on this virtual platform, right? I sat in front of this other human being with God being present. And this other human being is looking at me with just pure love, not one bit of judgment. And I'm able to rip the mask off and share all these parts of me that I never thought I would share with another. It's this other form of intimacy. This intimacy that I never experienced in my life. And it was just like pure love. Okay. And that's when it came to me that it was like being wrapped, because I felt that the fifth step promises, I'm not going to read them, but it says that we feel the nearness of our creator, that it was that nearness of my creator that I felt. And it was God being wrapped around me and this one other human being in my life. Just love being wrapped around me and this other person that's miles away. My sponsor lives in New York and miles away, but this was possible through a screen. I felt it. Love. For the first time in my life, I felt loved. And I felt love from God. I felt love for this other person. I felt love from him. It was like love from a human and God and me being able to give God back, give love back. You know, how incredible was that? And so that's the origination of my God blanket. And as I went on from there, I realized that my God blanket, like every person that I meet becomes a part of my God blanket, just like interwoven souls in my life. You know, and it's like just this God blanket becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, but the more people that I meet. That's why I said it's like stretched all around the world to like every human. There's 66 other people in this room today, and 66 other people now become a part of my God blanket. Yeah, I never thought that I'd get sober and come onto a meeting 7 years later and talk about my God blanket, right? Like who would have thought? Not me. Not this girl, the girl that would run out of the rooms when people would talk about God, and now she's talking about God blankets. No, and so this whole God blanket thing and this whole God thing, it sounds scary, but it's not. Like I needed to like let go of that, of what I thought God was. And instead I got to let God be. Not let, because who am I to let? But it was just like letting go so that God could be in my life the way that God is supposed to be. Right? Today, everything that I do revolves around my relationship with the God of my understanding. Today, everything that I do revolves around that and what I could do for other people in my life. Am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. But that's what the sixth step and the seventh step. The first time I did those steps, I was like, okay, read the 2 paragraphs in the big book. I can move on. But I didn't realize how big those steps actually are. How I actually have to practice those steps every single day of my life. Every moment of my life. It says that we get to strive for the perfection in God's eyes. That's in the 12 and 12. I don't know if anyone's here a fan of the 12 and 12, but I am. Especially for those steps that are so small in the big book, you know, 12 and 12 just like makes it so, it just like explains it a little deeper. And it allows me to see that the sixth step is like I get to cooperate with my God today. I get to base all my decision and ask myself, is this going to get me closer to God or further away from God? And then I realized if I'm asking myself that, then it's probably the latter. I'm probably going further away if I have to ask myself that. But it's incredible that today I can actually like measure, like, is this something that God would have me be? What are my motives behind this? What are my intentions? Right? Is it for Monica? Is it for Monica's objective or for God's objective? These are all things that I get to think about when I'm making a decision or when I'm interacting with another person, when I'm having a conversation with another person. All these things is like, and it sounds like, wow, she really has to think about all those things. And it becomes a part of our lives. It became a part of my life where it's not, I'm constantly thinking about it, but it's like engraved in my heart, in my soul, in my body, where today I don't have to like stop and actually ask myself that. Like, it's in me already. It's my intuition. It's my connection with the God of my understanding. Right? I get to do what God would have me be today. This whole humility thing, right? I get to do whatever it is that God will have me be for God. Like, and it doesn't matter what I get. It doesn't matter what I have. It doesn't matter. Do I have this job? Do I have this house? Do I have this car? It's about what I can give, what I can do. And God will put everything that he knows that I need in my life. Not the things that I think I need, but what he knows that I need. And because I don't know, Monica does not know anything. All I have today is what God puts in my head. Does that sound crazy? I obviously I have, my little plans and my designs and, all these things. I have Pinterest boards of how I want to get married. I'll have everything set up, but that doesn't matter. What matters is what God wants for me. And so all I have to do is do God's will. What is it? It's just wherever I'm put today, wherever I'm placed, is how I can interact with that person through God. Everything today is about my relationships with other people, is how I show up to these relationships with God. I know it sounds insane. And like this whole, because what really threw me for a loop was when I was working my step 8 and I read that first paragraph in the 12 and 12. And it's like the last sentence in the first paragraph of the 12 and 12 step 8. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. Look for it. But it says that we will have the best possible relationships with every human being we know. That's wild, right? The best possible relationships with not some, not our circle, every human being we know. Every human being we know. So I get to ask, is this the best possible relationship that I can have with this person right now? What can I do to better this relationship with this person? And it's like that for every person in my life. People that I meet on Zoom, people that I meet in at the gym, people that I meet at the store, everywhere I go. Am I coming onto these meetings and speaking this, there's some great message of recovery of my God blanket, all this, and then I go out to the gym and I'm a total jerk to people at the gym? What am I doing? And am I gossiping about other people? What are my motives behind by gossiping with other people? What is it? Is it the superiority that I want? What is it? I get to question all these things so I can become better, so I can do God's work better. Right? I don't have that I can't be that person anymore. I mean, I could be that person, but I don't have to be that person. Today I get to be the person that God needs me to be. Do I sometimes fall short? Absolutely. But do I say progress, not perfection, maybe next time? Or do I ask myself what I can do better? I know, I'm sorry. I'm not a huge fan of progress, not perfection. For Monica used to use that as a justification. That's why I'm not a fan of it. I used to use it as like, maybe next time you'll get them. And I when I read the 12 and 12 a little deeper, it says that we strive for the perfection in God's eyes. Whether if I know I'll get there or not, it doesn't matter. I can just try my best to cooperate with God, to be that person for God. I could fall short of my ideal, but then I'll change my ideal. What can I do better? And today, like these relationships, they've changed. All my relationships in my life have changed today. And that's been the most beautiful gift, I think, of this program of recovery has been the relationships with other people. Because I can sit here and say that I have this amazing job and I have this amazing car and I have this amazing house. I'm laughing because I have none of those things. I have none of those things. I've actually been unemployed for like 2 years now. I don't have a car. I haven't had a car. I actually, I'll share this story. I have 16 minutes. Okay. I'll share this story with you guys. I moved to Oslo, Norway. We were talking about this before the meeting for a bit. And I moved. I decided that's where I want to live. I feel like this is a great place to live. And I don't know. I just felt like I belonged in Oslo. And I went through the whole visa process, and it was denied at one point. Got a lawyer. We paid. I say we, like I had help to pay for these lawyers. I paid for a lawyer, and I tried. We got it appealed. They said no, you have to go back home, and everything just like was crumbling down. Everything was crumbling down in like a week. I lost my job. I was working remote for this hospital, and I got laid off. I lost my job in the same week that I was told that I have to go back home. And it was like it felt kind of like, oh gosh, I don't even know how to describe the feeling of like crumbling down. But it wasn't like this crumbling down feeling. It was like, it felt like things were being removed from my life, and it was like my first thought when I was talking to my sponsor about all these things was like, how I can't wait to see how I can be able to help another person with this experience. Yeah, I can't wait to see how I'm going to grow from this experience. It wasn't like, oh no, like all these things are happening to me. Like, what am I going to do? Life is over. It was like, what's going to come next? Like, I'm ready, God. Let's go. Is this change in attitude that we get to have. This change, the way that I get to look. Did I cry a lot? Absolutely. I cried my ass to sleep sometimes. It was like, sometimes I would be in the shower and I would be screaming Slipknot songs. I was just like screaming in the shower to Slipknot songs. I don't know if anyone's a fan, but anyway, it was just like I went through this grieving process of like my life changing. But the beautiful thing about that, I came home. But before I came home, I was talking to my parents about everything that was going on. They were like, well, you have us. You have us back home, and you're welcomed back home anytime. Anytime. And you have your room here, and we can help you until you get back on your feet. They didn't know that they'd be helping me for 2 years. But guess what? They're so happy to do it. They're so happy to do it. Right? And these are parents. These are people in my life that I caused chaos. I was a tornado in their lives. Right? I wouldn't come home for days. I got sober at 25 and so at 24, 23, like I wouldn't come home. I wouldn't answer their phone calls. I would be passed out on the floor. They're 20-year-old. How freaking scary would that be for them? I didn't realize how much hurt, how much harm I caused. And it wasn't just like physical, but emotional, spiritual, mental. Or finding out that their daughter was almost died from overdose. I'll never forget their faces when they came to visit me at the psych ward. Their faces of just heartbreak that I caused. And those parents today welcomed me back home, have been taking care of me, and let me borrow their cars. I can't believe it sometimes that we were at this wedding one time and we were all, like the whole family was there getting together, and my dad mentioned, just like randomly, they were talking about me being sober and like, oh yeah, she's not drinking anymore. And she's going on, I think I was like 5 years sober. She's like 5 years now. And yeah, it's been great. And my dad just says, I have the daughter that I never thought I would have. Yeah. And I was just like, what? It was like, whoa, where did that come from? I was just like, really? Really? Like, this is what I get to do. This is what I get to be a part of today. This is who I get to be today. The daughter that he never thought he would have. Yesterday was my home group's anniversary, and you know who went? My dad. My dad went with me to celebrate. And it's incredible that these are the gifts, the things the person that I get to be. And he said that, and I wasn't like, okay, well, my work here is done. I got what I wanted. No. Guess what? I get to continue being that daughter that he never thought he would have. My mom is a whole other story. My mom's she's actually in the other room. She might hear me, but she's just this relationship with my mom has been something so beautiful also to repair. It's been so beautiful. Last year, I got to celebrate my anniversary in Switzerland with her, and we went to Italy, to Switzerland, and we weren't even out of the airport. And I texted my sponsor, I don't know about this. It's not going so well. We're not even out of Miami. It was just like, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And we went there, and I was praying so much. I was praying, and I was praying. I was asking God, I was like, God, show me what I'm missing. Open my eyes to something bigger. What am I missing? And then God showed me, what God showed me? He showed me my mom having her own experiences. He showed me my mom, not just as mom, but as her own self, as a human being. Just having her, like, driving for the first time in a different country, parking parallel. She doesn't know how to do. Like, I got to see her be her. Today we go to Pilates together at 7 a.m. We get to classes at 7 a.m. So, we get to share all these times together. And I get to try to make life a little easier for her. So she's not worried sick, so she's not stressed. I ask her, like, what can I do to help you? And yeah, sometimes I fall short. I fall short of the person that God could have me be. There was this time where my dog passed away last year, and then it was this moment of like having her in my arms, and she was dying in my arms. And my mom was talking to me at the same time, and I didn't want to hear a thing. I didn't want to hear anything that she had to say. And I told her, get that freaking F away from me right now. Like, I'm going through this right now. I felt horrible about it. I left to the vet. I took my dog to the vet, and I came back home. And the whole time that I was at the vet, I couldn't stop thinking about the way that I spoke to my mom. It hurt me. And I came back home, and the first thing I did was go up to her, and I hugged her, and I said, I'm sorry. I'm just so sad. It was kind of like me trying to justify the way that I reacted to her. I told her, I'm so sorry. She's dying. And she ended up dying. Yeah. July 31st of last year. And it was horrible. And, to me, in my head, I was like, oh, I said sorry. She understands. But guess what? Here's where it all goes down. There's plenty of times throughout the next few months, up until maybe last month, I think. Up until last month, my mom will still bring up me screaming at her. She brought it up many times. And I couldn't figure out. I was trying to figure out, like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to get her to not feel that way anymore? Like, I didn't know. And I prayed about it, and I spoke to my sponsor about it, and I just couldn't figure out. But God put me in the position to have the conversation. And I told her, I'm like, Mom, like, I can't stop thinking about the way that I hurt you. And she said, I didn't know that you thought about it. I didn't know that you even cared. And that's just so crazy. Like, we don't know what other people are thinking. We don't know the damage that we can do. We don't know the hurt, the harm that we're capable of. And she said, that's all I needed. I just needed you to know how I felt. And I said, well, I'm here, and I hear you, and I'm like, whatever I can do to make this right, like, just tell me and I will do it. She's like, just don't ever do that again. And I said, like, has there been another time? She said, in the past 7 years, that's been the only time. And we got over that, and our relationship has been rock solid. since last month. Just kidding. It's been a long time, but there's these little things, right? These little things that we're not perfect, that I get to try to be better at, to be the better daughter for the people in my life, or for my parents, not everyone's daughter. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. Like, but this is it. This is it. It's the relationships with other people. It says it in the big book that we get to, well, not that we get to, but our job now is to be of maximum helpfulness to God and to all the people about us. That is my job now. I may be unemployed in Miami, but I'm actually employed with God. And that's my main job today. And that's what I get to focus on. And whatever, like everything else just falls into place the way that it's supposed to be. Today I am so rich, and it's not because of money. It's because of love. It's because of God. It's because of the people in my life. And it's still, like I said, it's still, if someone would have told me this is it, like this is what your life would be like 7 years, I wouldn't have believed them. But this is really it. And today there's just so much joy, so much love, and I can go through anything. And there's this paragraph that I love so much. It's page 100, and it says, both you and the new man must walk day by day in the path of spiritual progress. If you persist, remarkable things will happen. When we look back, we realize the things which came to us. When we look back, we realize that the things which came to us when we put ourselves in God's hands were better than anything we could have planned. Follow the dictates of a higher power, and you will presently, right here, live in a new and wonderful world, no matter what your present circumstances, no matter what. Sometimes you hear, I'm in the no matter what club, don't drink no matter what. No matter what your present circumstances is the no matter what club. This is the no matter what club, that I can go through anything today, no matter what. Because I have a relationship with the God of my understanding. Like, I have people that I get to work with. I have people that I get to see the light come on in their eyes. Okay? And it all started with one person because of this God blanket. One person. And now it stretches all around the world, and I get to show other people how they can recover, and they get to show other people how they can recover, and so on and so forth. Like, this is it. This is the life. Like, who wouldn't be excited for this? Who wouldn't be enthusiastic about these programs? This is it. Right here, right now, with you, with God, nowhere else that I would rather be. Hey, I get to wake up every single morning. The girl that was dying and would wake up and ask, why am I still here? I get to wake up in the morning and say, good morning, God. Surprise me. Show me. I'm here. I'm awake. Inspire my thoughts, my thinking, and go on throughout my whole day with those thoughts, with God, with love, and show up to people with love, with patience, with kindness, with consideration, with understanding. That's God. All right? I get to interact with people through God. Even, there's people that I would ask myself, like, there's no way I'm ever going to get over this. I can't see this person not annoying ever again. Like, this person's annoying for the rest of my life. And believe it or not, like, these prayers work. Like, I get to see, there's people that I see today that I could not stand or ever think I could ever stand again. And today I get to see them with love, with patience, with understanding. Tell me that's not God. Like, if that's not God, I don't know what is. This is a whole new design for living, is what they say. Right? This is a design for living. Like, I get to work this day in and day out. Every single moment of my day. I don't just pray in the morning and say, peace out, God, I'll see you later at night. No, it's like every single moment of my day. and I get to interact with people every single moment of my day. My phone is ringing constantly, and is it annoying sometimes? Absolutely. But when I pick up that phone, this connection that I get to have with another person, there's no other thing like that. People want to talk to me. It's crazy. You know, they say that life doesn't get butterflies and rainbows and sunshine when we get sober, or just because we're sober, because we feel pain and we feel heartbreak and we feel sadness and we feel emotions that are not very comfy to sit in. But today I get to go through all these things and feel all these things, but know that there's love over it all. Today I know that I can get through anything, and that I do live in a world where it is all rainbows and butterflies and sunshine, because I live in the world of my Creator with my God. There's no other place I would rather be. Who am I to say that it's not perfect? Where it's exactly the way that it's supposed to be because of God. And so thank you all so much for being a part of my God blanket. Thank you for allowing me to be of service. My name is Monica, and I'm a very grateful alcoholic.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Monica. I'm going to open up the room for the Q&A. So if you'd like to ask a question, please use the raised hand function. And question time will be limited to about 3 minutes. So when you see your time coming to an end, please bring your question to a close. Okay, Danny, you're first up.
Thanks, Katie. My name's Danny. I'm an addict. And Monica, wow, thank you so much. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. When I seen it, you were sharing on my God blanket, that got us instantly, and I thought this is going to be good. So you definitely didn't disappoint. My question for you, you sort of answered it, but I will ask it again. So you were talking about, after your fifth step and that awakening. So my question for you is, could you expand on sort of your first spiritual experience and that awakening and what that was like for you? Thanks again.
Thanks, Danny. Well, I would say that would be my first experience, but which was the God blanket experience. But I actually had another experience before that, where I was on this trail in Montana, and I was by myself, traveling solo, hiking on this trail in Glacier National Park, and it was beautiful. But I'm not in the best. I've never been the best physically fit person, but I was on this trail, and I remember just like praying, and I was saying, hey God, if you're actually there, this is while I still had like God in that little box that I had mentioned. It was like, and I was kind of starting to let go at this point. And I said, God, if you're out there, like, can you just please, send me some butterflies to make this a little bit more enjoyable, or like show me these butterflies so that I can actually get to the end of this trail. And next thing you know, like all these butterflies like came all around me. I get goosebumps thinking about this, because it was like this moment of like butterflies just fully surrounding me, and they were surrounding me all the way to the end of, and when I get to the end of this, it's like this beautiful, beautiful lake. And I was just like, holy shit, like God is actually here. God is real. And that was my first like letting go of what I thought God was supposed to be moment. And I even have like a video of me, and like I'm like tearing up and crying, because it was just incredible. And I think that just goes to show that if I let go and like release that control, God will fucking show up. Sorry. Oh my God. The God will show up, and God will be like, here I am. Like, just let me be the person, like the God that I need to be in your life, and do what I have to do, Monica. And so, yeah, that was my first actual experience with God.
Thank you for your question, Danny. Thank you, Monica. Next up, Michael, you're coming in with your question, please.
Hi, thank you very much, Katie. Michael, alcoholic, and thank you very much for your share, Monica. Just to echo what Danny said, it was fantastic. So, obviously, the topic was God. So my question is, like, apart from the step 11 practice, is there a particular step when practicing? Because you did talk about your 6 and 7, and obviously we practice all the steps once recovered. Is there a particular practice that you find yourself connecting with more like connecting with God more whilst practicing it? Like, is it your 6 and 7? Is it your 10? Is it your 12? You know, is there a particular step where you're seeking and connecting more with God, or is it just as a whole? And I'll leave it there.
Thanks, Michael. I think it's definitely all, as a whole. I think they all just like intertwine with each other, and I don't think it comes to a point, I think, for me, where it just becomes a part of like my working mind and like my heart. Like everything just becomes a regular practice, and I'm not actually looking to see what step I'm working right now, but it's just like it just comes. I think it even says that in the book. Like we don't even know when it happens. It just comes. Like it's a part of our like my intuition. Like I'm connected. But if I'll say this, like, if I don't practice that, like, good morning, God, surprise me, show me, inspire me, that 11th meditation of being inspired with his thoughts, I feel like the rest of my day is just Monica and not that connection with God. So for me, if I don't do that first 11th step in the morning of that being my first practice, then everything doesn't feel right in my heart. And so I feel like that's the one. And then everything, all the other steps just like intertwined throughout my day. And it's like just the fact that I'm aware and like awake to everything today, it's what I guess keeps me working and making sure that I'm doing what I have to do for God. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Michael. Thank you, Monica. Next up, Keelan, do you want to come in, please?
Yeah, hello. I'm Keelan. I'm an alcoholic, and thanks very much for your share, Monica. I got a hell of a lot out of it, and I love that concept that the God blanket. That's fantastic. The question that I wrote down was you mentioned about the passage that tells us about what our real purpose is. You know, to be of maximum service to God and the people around us. But my question around that is, how do you manage to fit yourself to be of maximum service to people that you find challenging?
That's good. That's a good question. It's a good question. I mean, I think it's there. I haven't had too much experience with too many people. I think I can even count them maybe on one hand. That's how like how much I try to work this day. But I have done like the whole sick man's prayer with people. So I've prayed like, God, show me like how to see this person through your eyes. That's a huge thing for me, asking God to see other people through his eyes rather than just mine. And so it's like asking God to allow me to see these people through his eyes, asking how I can be patient, how I can be loving, how I can be kind, like, and it works. Like it really, this whole sick man's, there was a time where I did the sick man prayer for like 2 months straight. I would not stop. I would not stop until like it actually started coming into like where I was able to start seeing this person with more patience and more kindness and more love. And I think it's just a matter of like, of willingness and like actually wanting to do it. Like I can say like, oh, allow me to see this person, you know, but like, I feel when I actually started putting meaning into it and like actual, like I really, really want this, so that I can be of maximum usefulness to you, God, then that's when like God actually like started saying like, okay, like you really want this. I don't know why I'm saying that God wanted that, but I feel like that's just the way that I see it. Like when I actually wanted to, and it wasn't out of like, just tolerance, you know, just like I just need to tolerate this person, but where I actually wanted to feel love for another person, that's when it actually started working. Like where my intentions and where my motives were right, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Keelan, for your question. Next up, we've got Young. Come on in.
Thank you. Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. My name's Young, recovered addict. Thank you, Monica. Always good to hear you. I really loved when you spoke about your mum. You know, I really felt that you suddenly felt your mum having this beautiful experience. My question is, you talked about your sponsor. What was it that drew you towards him? Thank you.
Oh, I'm really gonna cry. Well, I guess it was the joy. If some people in here know who my sponsor is, it's Babe K, and he's I mean, how can you not? Everyone gets drawn to him, but it was definitely the enthusiasm. I met him at 2 years sober, and that was around the time where the pandemic thing was happening, and I wasn't I was just trying to get by sober. But I didn't know that there was more, and he was demonstrating the more. Like, I heard a lot of people quote the big book. I heard a lot of people, talk page numbers and paragraphs and all these things, but he was demonstrating it, like actually showing up and actually, not just talking it, but living the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and living the recovery, and that story of his wife is definitely what made it for me. It was just like that. How can someone, talk about something so painful and actually share about it with love and joy, and that like story of his, like, I remember saying, like, I want to get through that. And then it's something close to me that happened was my dog passing away. And it was like, well, like, I was actually able to get through something painful just the way that he demonstrated that I could. And it's just, and I always say this, I didn't mention it today, but if anyone in here, like, finds someone like that, that's like demonstrating it and living it and showing up with love and joy and enthusiasm and God, like, hold on to that person and grab them for dear life, and like, and ask them how they did it. 'Cause that was what happened for me. And it's like just demonstrating it and not just talking about it. So thank you, Young. That was perfect.
Thank you. Next up, Isaac, do you want to come in?
Thanks, Katie. Thank you, everyone doing service. Hi, I'm Isaac. I'm a recovered addict. Monica, it was so great to listen to you. Thank you so much. I just was soaking all of that in. Really powerful. My question is to do with what you just talked about toward the end of your share about that perfect present moment. And it's a kind of double barrel question. The first part is, do you find that being able to stay grounded in that present becomes easier over time? And what actions do you find helpful to keep you there if maybe you start to drift off from that?
Thank you, Isaac. That's a great question. I feel like when I'm present, I'm trying to think of a moment where it's when I'm like worrying or like full of fear, that I know that I'm not present, that I'm like relying on other stuff. And I think it's been a while since I've actually felt like worry and fear and not being with God. But I think it's just a matter of like what I can do right now, like where I am. Like it took me a while to realize that the present, the right here, right now is the only moment that I need. I was trying to figure out what moment in my life was my best moment. Was it the day that I came into Alcoholics Anonymous? Was it the day that I attempted a suicide because it got me into Alcoholics Anonymous? Is it the month that I'm in? Is it the year that I'm in? And it all just like came down to this specific moment, to right here, to right now, that this is where I get to be rocketed and I don't have to be anywhere else. That like, this is the moment where everyone else is, and this is the moment where God is. And so like, why would I want to be anywhere else but right here, right now? And it just makes things so much like easier when because I don't have to worry. I don't have to be fearful. I don't have to like think about all these things that are not happening because they're not happening, and I guess, I mean, I'm trying to figure out a way to say it where it's like more of, because I'm a very like emotions and feelings kind of person. I've always said I'm not like intellectual or can't quote the big book for anything, but it's more, I'm like more of a feelings and emotions and type of person. So it's always been really hard for me to describe things or share how things make me feel. But I think that's the best way that I can do it. Like if I'm here, right now, and I guess maybe this is something like, if I'm thinking about something else that I shouldn't be thinking about, then I'll pick up the phone and I'll call someone. I'm on the phone a lot of the day, and so I call my sponsor every single day. I tell him every single moment of my day, from good to bad to small, big, whatever it is. Like, he knows everything that's going on in my life, and I feel like when I'm drifting off, it says when we're drifting off, like, we get to turn to someone to be of help. If I'm thinking of of what I need, what I want, then I need to turn to someone to be of service to. What can I do? And I guess that's the key. Is like, what can I do for someone else rather than think about myself right now? And that's where I'm not worried. I'm not in fear. I'm not thinking about things that I shouldn't be thinking about that are not happening right now. I hope that answers it. Thank you.
No, thanks, Isaac. Thanks, Monica. I'm Kate. I'm a recovered addict. I've got a vision in my head when you said about vision board, and I like to imagine and picture things, you know, like with my vision, and especially during meditation. I was picturing your God blanket like one of those patchwork quilts with millions of different colours, and every time you met a new person or someone else in recovery, that you was like sewing a square on as you go along. And my question to you is, I'm just wondering, like, what is your description? Is there colours? Like, you know, what's your description of your God blanket? I'm just interested to know, please.
So cute, Katie. I've never had someone ask me that before. But I just feel like I kind of like this. Okay, here it is. This is not my God. This is actually the blanket that my dog passed away in, but I know that's sad. Anyway, it's not supposed to be sad, but this is kind of what I picture. You know, I say like interwoven. So it's like this like interwoven and like very sparkly and very glitter. I'm just a really girly girl. So like very sparkly and pink. And I feel like everyone's like personality would be woven. So like the colors of people's personalities, if that makes any sense. So like just like interwoven with everyone else. So like they're also interwoven with other people. And I think that's like we touch other people's lives and they touch our lives and we touch, like, it's just like everyone becomes connected at the end of the day. I think I've heard like someone talk about like a tree trunk, or like the roots get spreaded out and like end up touching. I don't know. That was someone else's story, but that's how I picture. Like, I feel like we all end up connecting not touching each other, but connecting with one another at the end of the day, like through other people. Like if I meet Babe and Babe meets Katie somewhere else and Katie meets Young somewhere, it's like we all end up coming back like full circle at one point. And I think that's like the beautiful thing of like being interwoven. Like no one knows they're interwoven, but they're there and they're like interwoven with other people in my life as well. And I guess that's not a very like physical description, but it's just like people's personalities with God in my blanket and just love. And to me, love is like sparkly and glittery shit. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you. Kev, we've got a little bit of time for you to have a quick question. Take us out, please.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Casey. Thanks for taking the meeting. You just said it. I was going to ask you what's love? What's love to you? I mean, you mentioned demonstration, and when you say, you know, you speak to God and you're going to go out in a day and love everyone. How's that look? Do you see it in your mind? Do you envision what you're going to do? How you're going to be helpful? What's love? How's it look?
Love is everywhere. Love is God. I think God to me is love, and God is like these principles in our lives or my life, you know, like patience. I feel like that's God. Love is God. So if I see like like two people helping each other, I see love. And if I see someone, you know, helping another, like that's love. If I see someone helping a little old lady cross the street, that's love. It's just like I feel like when I see God present in things, that's love. And that I feel like if I want to, if I'm open, if I'm awake and aware to everything around me, then I can pretty much see love and find love everywhere that I go. There's this one, I'll share this and then I swear I'll shut up, but I have so many stories. But, you know, I went to Austria this past month a couple weeks ago to celebrate my anniversary. And I went solo and I just went, I traveled solo and it was, you know, by myself. And I realized that I usually when I go, or I feel a lot of people, we go out and we travel and we're taking pictures of like statues or like this or a museum or like stuff like that. And this time around, I realized that I was taking pictures of other people and like people just doing people things and humans just being. And, there was this little old lady that was taking a picture of her husband and she had this cute little white hat. And I took a picture of her taking a picture of her husband. And it was just so cute. Like that is love to me, like that we get to see other people just peopling, like that to me is love, where God is present in everything, and that I think that's only if I'm awake and aware to it, then I will be able to see it everywhere. Thank you, Kev.
No,